Kolbrin Book of Wisdom, Chapter 21. A Word to Prophets and Preachers. The true prophet is a message-bearer who has heard a voice crying out across the distances. The message may not be clearly heard, and perhaps conveyed with errors and distortion. But if it is the dedicated effort of a sincere man, it must be of value. Because there are many false prophets, the words of a true prophet do not lose their value. No man has ever sought to counterfeit a valueless thing. The vine is judged by the drink it produces, and not by its leaves and appearance. It is the end product that matters. The pattern of the divine design is marvelous and its working intricate. The threads are many, and their preparation involves countless processes. The weavers are numerous, but few can visualize what magnificence completion may reveal, and none can see the uncompleted whole. Therefore, those who would show others the pattern to follow should not seek to guess at what lies beyond their own range of vision. So, if you are a prophet chosen to guide, do not exceed the scope of your authority, or seek to describe things beyond the reach of your light. Go forward with courage and confidence, and the voice of the divine will teach you the signs along the road and make clear their meaning. When you stand up to deliver your message, many hypocrites will gather and declare their belief in what you say. The words they speak may deceive you, for they are a cloak disguising their true garb, and because of their hypocrisy, those who would otherwise listen to your words will turn away in disgust. Therefore, when you make converts, beware of including the faint-hearted and hypocrites, for they will only be a liability. Do not be afraid to speak up when men will listen to what you have to say, but also know when to be silent and hold your peace. It is futile to waste words when you will not be given a hearing. You will have to contend with many false-faced prophets, whose words are beautiful baubles falling from silver tongues. They attract the attention of many who listen for pleasure, and so are led astray. Some men will come to you declaring that they have been converted to your cause, but the words they utter have no more substance than the breath upon which the words ride. Their speech does not reflect the image in their hearts, and their hypocrisy places them among the damned. Others will come prepared to accept what you say in part only, and to serve with reservations. If good comes out of what they do, they consider the effort sufficient. But if they find the going hard, they will fall away. Those are weak characters who can derive little benefit from your teachings, until they first change themselves. The first duty of the good religion is not to preach the divine, but to teach men to change themselves. Its first aim is to develop a better being. Do not ever tell others the way to live and how to govern their lives until after you have put your teachings into practice. First practice what you teach, and then you can instruct others from your experience. The hypocritical teacher betrays his cause. Though you may preach to an audience of all comers, choose your disciples carefully. Do not waste time on fools or simpletons, or on those unwilling to take the road towards spirituality. Always explain in such a manner that your words cannot be misconstrued. Do not always expect people to ask for further explanation if they do not understand, for their misinterpretation may satisfy them, or they may be reluctant to speak up. Sometimes, a preaching prophet may upbraid his hearers with anger, because his heart is stirred up within him, and some may be resentful. They will overlook all his good qualities and search out his faults. Perhaps they will say, "This man preaches forbearance and self-control, while railing against us with hostility and anger." Therefore, before attempting to preach, strengthen your character, so that if you must upbraid people for their ways, you do so with affection and restraint. Do not argue hot-headedly or enter into dispute with your hearers, but talk to them in a kindly, reserved manner. Bear in mind that whatever their belief, it will contain a large amount of good, with which you have no dispute or issue. It is the bad, which taints and contaminates the good, that has to be sought out and destroyed. Do not enter into discussion or argument with anyone well instructed in another doctrine, unless you are equally well instructed in yours, and equally well informed on theirs. In disputes and discussions, the ill-informed man is knocked over with a straw. In the arena of argument, the man without knowledge attacks with a reed. Other doctrines have their books, and the best book is the one which benefits the most. In one book, truth may be described in one way, and in another book it may be described differently. But this need not mean that one is right and the other wrong. Truth never goes unveiled, but the wise man seeks her where she is veiled the least. The outward vestments of a religion are unimportant, for gaudy ones may hide a festering body, while unimposing garments may clothe a healthy one. Disregard the bottle, and give your attention to its contents. A misshapen bottle may hold matured wine, while the well-shaped bottle may contain wine newly pressed. If your calling is to preach, then declare to others all the words you believe to be true, concerning the divine and the latent divinity in men. Pay no heed to those who would discourage you, and follow the footsteps of truth unflinchingly. The least enlightened are those who close their ears to the voice of wisdom. If you have been granted the gift of speech, so that your opponents are routed under a hail of words, do not proclaim a victory. A man is not converted because he is silenced. The advocate who presents the best argument may not have the best case, and he who speaks the right words may not be on the right side. Though you cannot reveal the divine design, you can point out the order in the divine dominion. All about the signs are manifested in the order and procession of the stars and the succession of the seasons, in the abounding beauty and bounty of nature, and in the laws that govern growth and decay. When the call to the cause is sounded in the dawnlight of the day of truth, preaching prophets will fare forth as harbingers. If it falls to your lot to be numbered among them, then consider yourself honored among humanity. Summon others to tread the way of truth with you, but do so in simple words, and with enlightened argument and wisdom. Do not enter into time-wasting disputes, but use gentle persuasion and kindly guidance to put the feet of your followers upon the right road. Those who answer the call to the cause cannot expect to escape the conflict unscathed. If you are among those who suffer, do not take reprisals, but only such steps as will prevent a repetition. Display your strength of character in patient endurance and cheerfulness, but you are not expected to be meekly submissive. Endure whatever trials come your way with patience and fortitude, for they serve you well. Do not be unduly disturbed if you are not believed, or troubled, because so many betray their own nature and destiny. You can do no more than warn them, and call upon them to fulfill their duty and obligations. Do not let your heart be troubled by their subtleties of arguments, and bear in mind that deluded men always believe in the reality of their delusions. Concentrate on teaching the young, for this is like engraving words on metal, while teaching the aged is like writing words on the seashore sands. But instruction should be given by the aged, for he who looks for wisdom in the young is like a man who eats unripe fruit from the vine, or drinks unmellowed wine from the cask. The good religion will not concern itself with money-making for profit, though if it is made to serve a good end, there is no harm. With money-making and profit, it is the objective that counts. Those who preach the good religion will take no money for themselves, in such a way that people might come to regard it as no more than another means of livelihood. The praiseworthy teacher will earn his livelihood through his skill or labor. However, if a man devotes himself to furthering the cause and sacrifices opportunities in other directions, he shall not be denied a fair return for his services. A man who dedicates himself wholly to the service of a cause can rightly expect that cause to supply him with the necessities of life. The preacher dedicated to service must not be too fastidious, for to give battle to the muck wallowers, the muck heap must be entered. Neither must he be intolerant with those who hold to the most outlandish beliefs, for each man's belief seems right in his own eyes. The harbingers of the good religion must be men of strong character and integrity, for a fortress cannot be built on shaky foundations, or stout walls erected over a bog. The preacher who is truly dedicated to a divinity of love and goodness becomes himself a manifestation of those qualities. Man is not expected to achieve perfection here on earth, but only to seek it. What is expected of him is a sincere and honest effort, without any hypocritical or deceptive reservations. The divine design requires that man make a conscious choice of right, under the constant pressure of temptation to do otherwise. This also leaves man free to choose wrong. Man chooses wrong instead of right for just two reasons. Either it is the easy path of least resistance, or it is the most alluring. Consequently, the good religion must first concern itself with establishing strength of character and moral backbone, for these form the only foundation upon which the palace of spirituality can be erected. Long ages ago, man took the wrong path and was led astray still further by guides with insufficient knowledge of the way. They knew the general direction, but their maps were faulty. Now man is lost in the swamps of spiritual barrenness and the marshes of moral decay. His vision cannot penetrate the thick mists of mortal and material illusion which have closed in upon him. He has lost all confidence in his guides and feels betrayed, abandoned, and lonely. The lost wayfarer must be revived with a draught of moral courage. He must be strengthened and revitalized with a belief which gives him spiritual backbone. The religions which pander to the weak characters, to the meek and servile, The ignorant and unthinking must be discarded. Man must be given what he needs, not what he deserves. He must be taught the meaning and purpose of life, so that he no longer wastes it. He must know that whatever befalls him on earth is either decreed or the result of his own actions, but that it may be utilized to his benefit elsewhere. Now, as always, man is taught to seek inspiration outside himself. In the light of the new dawn, he must be taught to seek his inspiration from the divinity within himself. This is not the hour of dawning, for it lies still distant, and therefore these words are no more than an arrow shot in the direction of the rising sun. He who writes them now will never put them into effect, for a child born prematurely has a little chance of survival. A ship is not launched on the floodwaters, and a harvest is reaped only when the seed is sown in its proper season. Do not be downhearted if the results of your preaching cannot be seen, for be assured that if good is sown well, it will surely take root. When your hearers are men of intelligence, speak to them profoundly. But if they are men who toil, men not gifted with intellect or well endowed with words, instruct them by parable, and with tales drawn from their own background and turned to account. When the divine intends to call a man to high service, that man is certain to be the first disciplined by suffering. He may be tested by bodily labor, by hunger and privation, or he may be tried in the fires of trouble and distress. His every undertaking may be confounded, and every effort frustrated. By such means his character will be strengthened, and his resolution intensified. His understanding and compassion will be increased. Men have to make mistakes to learn, and reformation of character often commences under duress. Yet it does not follow that all derive benefit from the tests of life, for many weak characters succumb before them, and then their weakness swallows them up. The benefit comes to those who realize benefit is to be gained, and who look for it, or to those who, unconscious of benefit, still rise above their trials. Nothing is wrong with the spiritual realm, and nothing is wrong with the world, except through man's own actions. What is wrong and must be remade is man himself. The good religion must, therefore, teach man to be happy and contented within himself, and to rise above his environment. Too many lack this ability, and are happy only when circumstances and surroundings are favorable. But they soon become depressed and sad when things go against them, or are not to their liking. Despondency and worry arise when a person's thoughts are completely self-centered, and harmful desires arise when they seek selfish gratification. To seek the things and circumstances that please, and to shun those that do not, is taking the slippery path leading to the pit of sorrow. The road to degeneracy is wide, smooth, and downhill all the way. Men must learn that while they traverse the arid desert of materialism, they must expect to suffer the thirst pangs of unquenchable desires and unsatisfied urges. Their feet will always drag heavily through the sands of sorrow and suffering. Only when they come to the cool waters of spirituality can they rest, refreshed and satisfied. The dust storms of passion, the mirages of deception and illusion, and the dark cloud of mortal ignorance must be penetrated in order to glimpse the light of divinity beyond. The phantoms of sense fallacies must be recognized for what they are: unimportant things without substance. Things come into being because they are needed and necessary. And when the good religion opens its arms to men, it will be for this reason. Until then, it is not harmful for them to worship the awe-inspiring symbols and indulge in the spirit-stirring litanies conceived by the many existing religions. These do serve, by assisting the spirit to purge itself of grosser attractions and to elevate the soul. In such elementary forms of worship, the object of homage does not matter, for each worshipper forms an image in his own mind of what lies behind it, according to his own state of development. In this manner, the way is prepared for the coming of the light. No activity of man is so wrapped in ignorance, so inept and harmful, as religious intolerance, or prejudice in favor of one outward form of worship as against another. All who worship are seeking the same destination, and each takes the road he thinks most suitable. Men are led by phantoms to fight for dimly revealed causes, and end up consumed in fiery pits of hatred. Why have they chosen one side rather than the other? Only because the particular religion they support is an accident of birth and upbringing. Man weaves his sorrows from the very materials given for his adornment and glorification. The answers given by all true religions are inspired by the desire to meet particular needs. These needs differ according to time and place, and the condition and development of men. But all true religions have this in common: they come in response to something upsurging in the nature of man. When the rites of a religion are performed without thought, and its ceremonial becomes meaningless, then that religion is ready to die.